even when we win, it feels like we lose as we beat Detroit in the most meaningless game imaginable. That was really a kind of a clown show to watch, given how bad the officiating was, which, I've always said I'll never complain about bad officiating, but man, I feel bad for Detroit fans who have to deal with that on a consistent basis. So the Vikings win, finish 7-9 on the season. An interesting game, if you can call it that. Clearly, no defense wanted to participate in this event. I don't think either defense could have shut down Alabama today. Devontae Smith would have won 2 Heisman trophies against both of these defenses. And as far as the offenses go, yeah, I mean, it was basically backyard football for them due to the barren void that was both secondaries for this game. Marvin Jones having a great game, Justin Jefferson getting the rookie record. And Alexander Mattison looked great today, which I think is what he needed. I think if anybody benefited from this game at all, it was Mattison, because up until this point, there was some question marks about his longevity with this team, and I think he secured himself his roster spot next season. So that is the game. Not really much to talk about, but 7-9 is NFL Purgatory. I don't want to sound salty after a win, but we clearly did not do what we needed to do to put ourselves in a better position to make this franchise more competitive next season, and that is a higher draft pick. We went from 1-5 to start the season, talking about picking in the top 10, and now we are sitting in the middle of the first round with no second round pick, and a 7-9. It's purgatory. This is not where you want to be. You either want to be in the top of the draft, where you can select star-studded blue chip prospects, or you want to be at the back end of the draft because you are a successful franchise. A lot of people I've noticed, and I hopped over to another podcast for a few minutes before I sat down to record this, and a lot of people seem to be very upset that Vikings fans, including myself, were disappointed in winning that game because it means that we don't improve our draft status in the first round. And their argument is that Justin Jefferson was what was he, the 22nd overall pick? I don't exactly remember, 22, 23, somewhere in that area. It was the Bills' first rounder that we got for Stephon Diggs. I think it was 22. But anyway, people don't realize, real people who watch the draft, or who don't watch the draft, people who don't watch the draft don't realize that you can get a star slam dunk wide receiver later in the first round, in the second round. It's possible. Wide receivers are a dime a dozen. They fall in the draft because their position is less valued compared to other things like edge, offensive tackle, and quarterback. So if you're going into the NFL draft in the first round and you need a wide receiver, you could pick anywhere in the first round and be pretty excited about what you're going to get. But if you need what the Vikings need, and that is another edge rusher opposite of Danielle Hunter, a left tackle, because Riley Reif is likely done in Minnesota. There's no way he's going to take another pay cut to come back here and play again. We need a stalwart, franchise guard like Quentin Nelson. You're only getting guys like that in the top 10. You are only getting a franchise-altering offensive tackle, quarterback, edge rusher, or guard in the top 10. Those picks don't happen other places. Now, there's exceptions, but those aren't rules. Like Justin Jefferson is the exception, right? You're not always going to get a Randy Moss. We seem to have done it twice somehow. But you're not always going to get a Randy Moss or a Justin Jefferson at the end of the first round. Those are the exceptions. Those guys are the exceptions. They're not the rules. If you want to get an impact franchise potential 10-year stud, they come in the top 10, right? And we're going to miss out on that. So I don't understand. Like, I'm here at the end of the season baffled that we even put up a fight. Like, as I've always said, I will be excited to win games, but at the same time, you have to be coherent about the future of your franchise, and beating up bad teams like Chicago and Detroit. Well, Chicago's not a bad team anymore. They were in the middle of the season. Beating up bad teams and getting fluke wins against Green Bay because it was really windy is not how you set yourself up to win Super Bowls. And that should be the goal, right? I'm tired of the stat box checkers, because, everybody's like, oh, Kirk Cousins had a really good game. Of course, people are still going to complain. why are you excited about a meaningless regular season game? You know, it's not even fantasy football this week. Fantasy football was over last week, so this doesn't even help you at all. What's the point? What's the point of throwing for 450 yards against a completely depleted shit defense that Detroit has, other than to just, you know, do a stealth brag? There's no point. Why are people celebrating that kind of a thing? Like, it doesn't put a notch in the win column. It doesn't get you a Super Bowl ring. It's not a playoff win. It's meaningless regular season stats in a week 17 game that was pointless. Who cares? Like, if that's your reaction to this game, is to immediately point to the stat box and defend somebody who's you've been defending all year because you can't stand to tolerate the opinions of a portion of the fan base that you don't agree with because you have to live in your bubble of preconceived worldviews. Yikes. Like, sit in a dark room for a couple of hours and think about yourself. Like, holy cow, you might need a little bit of help. Anyway, as far as everything else goes, for the rest of the season, this is what we got coming up. So we're going to do the day after tomorrow. We'll film that. That'll be later in the day. And then the day after that, we'll start doing the wrap-up videos for the week, and by the end of the week, we're going to close out 2020, and we're going to move on and start a new playlist on the channel for the 2021 season. David Montgomery looks very hurt, and that is very bad for Chicago. I always watch games while I'm filming this. I think that's probably something that everybody's caught on to by now. So for the rest of the week, wrap up this season. At the start of the next week, we're going to start moving into, we'll probably start it this week, but we're going to start diving into 2021 because we have a lot to fix with this. We're going to have a lot of conversations about what needs to happen with this team, because we need to do a roster evaluation. We need to talk about players that we're not getting back. I think Kyle Rudolph isn't coming back. Anthony Harris, let him walk today. Who cares? He's worthless, especially by today's effort. There's the potential of a Danielle Hunter trade. One of the things that Rick Spielman needs to do immediately is figure out how to get a second round pick back, because we don't have one. And I think not having two in the top 100 is really going to cripple us this year. So there's a lot to discuss. And as always, don't forget to leave a comment on this video and let me know what you want, what you thought of today, what you thought of the season, what you thought going forward. Where do you stand on the spectrum of we should have won this game versus we should have lost this game to help us in the future, because winning doesn't help us now? I know there's always going to be people out there that want to win no matter what, and that's fine. That, if that is your stance or your take, that is totally acceptable. So yeah, let me know in the comments below. I will select as many as I can for tomorrow's video, which is the day after. And look forward to a lot of stuff about the NFL draft. We're going to talk about next season. We're going to talk about this season, because there's a lot to talk about this season. So, and we'll sit around and talk about all the coaches that get fired tomorrow, which I don't think ours is going to be one of them. I think Mike Zimmer is going to come back, and then he's going to enter a critical year in his career with the Vikings. This next 4 months is critical for this team, because either we go back to the playoffs next year or everyone's getting fired. There's no more playing around. 7-9, 8-7-1. This is pointless. We are wasting a lot of good talent, and I don't even want to begin to start wasting years off of Justin Jefferson's career, because it's already one that's in the books. Yeah, he had a great season, but what did we win? Nothing. Dalvin Cook had a great season. What did we win? Nothing. Statistically, Kirk Cousins had a great season. What did we win? Nothing. Regular season stats are meaningless. Wins are all that matter. So that's going to do it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. See you in the next one, or even the day after tomorrow.